Welcome to our Devos, and we're going to conclude this week on making an impact with something that I call like the little known secret about making an impact. And so you want to make an impact on people. I do too. You want to be an influence in your family. You want people around you to look at you as a person of significance where you can help people, where you can further the gospel by using what God has given you to do that. All of us want that in some way, shape, or form. And a shortcut to do that, a shortcut on being a person of impact is really, really easy, but hard to practice. And that is just be generous. Just be generous. Now, when you hear generous, it means different things to different people. Some of you hear be generous, and you know what you hear? You have to give everyone your money. You have to just give your money away. You have to give your money away. No. Generosity oftentimes is associated with material things, but generosity has a wider scope of meaning than that. You are a person who has been equipped with things that other people might not be equipped with. For instance, some of you might have more time than other people on your hands to do things. Like your job is pretty good and you make enough income that you don't have to work so much. You have time. Some of you have learned a certain tool or a skill over a career of doing that thing, and you can be generous about teaching people that skill, that trade. Some of you just are gifted in wisdom. I mean that. Some of you, like when I talk to some of the people in the church, I'm like, I just want to call them and like ask them what to do with my life. Like they always have a good perspective. They always hear God's voice on a situation, and they always make it really practical and encouraging. And your generosity could be simply you listening to someone and kind of being willing to put yourself out there and help them by giving advice. So be generous. If you want to make an impact, you have to be generous with what you have. Look at Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16. The writer says, do not neglect to do good and to share what you have. Operative words there, what you have. For such sacrifices are pleasing to God. Now, why are some of us not generous? Well, because we always think about what we don't have to share. Oh, if I could just have more money, I would be generous. And we think about all the things we don't have, and that's why we're not generous. But that's not true. Did you know that the majority of our church is financed, funded, and run by people that don't have a ton of money, don't have a lot of time, don't have a lot of resources, but what they do, they are generous. They sacrifice. Some of the busiest people in their careers and their jobs, busy, like beyond what you can imagine. They travel, they go out of the country, they minister to people in different ways. Some of those people that are most generous with their time have the least amount of time to give. Some people that have the least amount of big time influence that you would see, that they're people that you would never expect to you'd never see them on the platform, you never see them at the pulpit, you never see them on TV or something like that. They're the ones that are secretly behind the scenes pouring themselves out to people, reaching people, talking to people that nobody else is talking to and trying to encourage them in Christ. That's what generosity is all about. Generosity is a highway to becoming a person of influence. Be generous with what you have, and God will allow you to make more of a significant impact than you could ever possibly imagine.